it's Moose, and thank you so much for joining me back here. Today's video, a long time coming, that I've been threatening to do for a while, and I'm finally getting around to it. I don't do book reviews that often here on my channel. Unfortunately, I do enjoy them. If I'm being honest, I'm not very confident in them. I always feel like there's a very thin line between not sharing enough and then sharing too much to the point of giving spoilers. So I'm always very hesitant to do book reviews. However, today I'm going to talk about a series that I read last year. Reread last year would be a more apt way to put it, because I read the series, or at least the first one, back in middle school. I'm getting ready to graduate with my graduate degree, with my master's, just to put that in perspective. So it's been a long time since I read this. I reread it last year, and I think it's one of my new favorite series. I'll explain why I say I think here in a minute. So yeah, today we're going to be reviewing the Beka Cooper trilogy by Tamora Pierce. The first book is called Terrier, the second one is Bloodhound, and the third one is Mastiff. Thankfully, I did write some notes as I was reading through this, because it has been a while since I've read these. Like I say, I read these last year in 2020. So thankfully I took some notes to kind of solidify some things I wanted to talk about. First of all, I want to point out that this is categorized as a YA series. I will say the first one kind of starts out a little middle grade. It's still a YA series, but it kind of starts out middle grade and progressively gets more YA as the series goes along, in my opinion. So just to kind of give you a quick summary of these three books of this trilogy, this follows a girl named Beka Cooper, who is a provost guard. She's what's called a dog in this world, which is basically just like a detective policeman type person. Okay, so each of the three books follows a different crime, mystery that she and her partners have to solve. So the first one is Beka's first year as a guard, as a dog. She's actually called a puppy in the first one because she's a dog in training. And she gets paired with her two partners, Goodwin and Tunstall, who come up in the next two books as well. So this one's all about how she becomes a dog. She has these powers. She's able to hear the dead who ride on the backs of pigeons. So if a person dies, their soul kind of latches on to pigeons, and the pigeons kind of carry them around until they're ready to go on to the next world, to the world beyond. And so Beka can hear these, and this ability helps her with her crime solving, because she can hear the dead and they can tell her clues and hints and stuff to help her along with whatever it is that she's investigating. She can also talk to dust spinners. I don't know if that's the actual term in the book, I can't remember, but it's basically like a little tornado type thing made out of dust and dirt. In each of the cities, they're pretty much everywhere, and they collect the noises and sounds that they've heard. So this also helps her with her detective type stuff, because she can step into them and then they will release to her everything that they've heard, so she can hear conversations that people had as they were walking by, maybe people getting murdered, that kind of stuff. So that's Beka, and this is the first book in which she becomes a dog. She learns how to be a guard. The second book is called Bloodhound. This one follows Beka and her partner Goodwin on their trip on their own. So the first book is Beka with both of her partners, and then this one is just her and Goodwin. Goodwin is a woman, and so they are tasked with going to a neighboring city, town, area, because there's a lot of basically money laundering going on, and they're tasked with figuring out who it is and stopping it. That's pretty much the gist of this one. I think the series progressively gets better-ish. I'll explain that in a minute. So yeah, this one is a little more YA compared to the first one. There is some romance in these, not really in the first one, a little bit in this one, and then this one really picks up. Not inappropriate romance though. Tamora Pierce does not give hearty descriptions, which is kind of refreshing sometimes when reading YA, because I'll be honest, sometimes some of the descriptions I'm just like, okay, that's okay. Anyways, so yeah, This one follows Beka and Goodwin. And then the last book is Mastiff. This one follows Beka and Tunstall. So Tunstall is a man. In this one, there is a kidnapping type of case where the prince of the realm has been kidnapped, and I think Goodwin in this one has kind of stepped back. And so she's not going with them. It's just Beka and Tunstall are partners now. Goodwin is not part of their group anymore. And so they're tasked with going and finding the prince and bringing him back to his parents. I should mention also that there is a dog. Beka becomes a hound handler to a dog named Achu. So that's one of the biggest reasons she goes on this hunt, is her dog is one of the best ones in the guard. So she's able to track the scent of the prince. Now, I say that the story gets progressively better-ish. And I put the ish at the end because I was really disappointed with the ending of this one. There are just some things that happen. I'm not going to give spoilers, okay? I'm not going to give spoilers. I might give spoilers at the end of the video where I can put like a little timestamp. Anyways, for right now, let me just say that something happens to one of the characters that I did not think fit their character arc. Let me just say that. Okay? And I was a little disappointed about it, by it. Otherwise, this would be absolutely one of my new favorite series. I still look at it very highly. I really enjoyed it as I was reading through it. And I would still consider it one of my favorite series. It would just be a lot higher if that thing had not had happened. So there's a brief synopsis of each of the 3 books. Let's talk about writing style. So Tamora Pierce is someone that I think takes a little time to get used to. I read this one, and I read the first book in the, something about the lioness. It's Alana, the first adventure or something like that. I'll put a picture of it here. I read this one as well, and I actually want to continue on with the series. I really don't know why I haven't yet. But her writing style is definitely something to get used to. There are glossaries in the back of these books, both for Achu's commands and just for the general dialect within this world. She kind of makes up her own terms. Again, the dialect is kind of weird. I should mention that these are written in first person through journals. So these are all Beka's journals for each of the 3 different mysteries that she solves throughout the series. So writing, it's written in journal style. It takes a little longer to get used to just because of the different dialect, the different words that you kind of have to understand what they mean to read the story smoothly. I have heartburn, sorry. Once you do get the hang of it, I think it goes smoothly. By the end of the first book, I had the hang of it, and so the second and the third book were smooth sailing for me. Since Beka is an investigator, a guard, a policeman, policewoman, however you want to put it, it's very descriptive writing as well. She really details each of the characters. She's good at explaining what the characters look like, because from her perspective, it's her job to recognize these things. So from the story, from the character's perspective, it makes sense that the story is very detailed. But that's good. I liked all the details. It kind of gave you a more rounded view of the world as well. And Beka's ultimate goal in writing these is to help with her memory. It's kind of like a memory exercise for her to write down at the end of each day what happened that day on the job. Let's talk about characters very quickly. First of all, the characters were interesting and intriguing, I thought. I thought Beka particularly got better as the books progressed. You can kind of see her mature a little bit as the books go on. Goodwin was a great character. As I said before, she's not really in the third one, but she's in the first and second one. And she's just kind of a good role model for Beka to look up to as Beka's kind of learning how to become a good dog. Goodwin and Tunstall are considered the best on the squad. I don't know, whatever word you would call it. So they're kind of big shoes for Beka to fill. But she's a good role model for her. Tunstall I really liked. He's kind of the funny comedic relief in the book, in the trio of the 3 of them, because Beka is a very serious character. She takes her job very seriously. She's very shy, she's reserved, she has a hard time opening up to people. So Tunstall kind of provides that comic relief that is sometimes needed. He's not really in the second book a whole lot because he doesn't go on the job with Goodwin and Beka, but he is very prominent and present in the third book in Mastiff. Each book also introduces some new characters that kind of stay around. Beka has a cat named Pounce in all 3 books. He's like a god type figure. I think he's technically a constellation. He's a star in cat form that likes to follow Beka around. He kind of does his own thing. They can talk like in their minds and stuff. Sometimes he talks to other people too. Sometimes people just look at him and see a cat. He's an interesting character. He helps Beka occasionally. I've already talked about a Chew. A Chew is introduced in the second book. She's a sweet little pup. Just a pup though. She's not like Pounce. She can't talk or anything to Beka, but her personality is sweet. There's a character named Sabine that's introduced in I don't know if it's the first one or the second one, I can't remember. But she and Tunstall kind of hit it off and get kind of close. She's a lady knight, which is not very common in this world. This world is very male dominated, which I think is why Goodwin and Beka are made to be such strong characters, and Sabine as well. And then there is Master Farmer, who's introduced in the third book. He's like a magician type guy who is tasked with helping Beka and Tunstall on the investigating type thing, the kidnapping case. So we do get some new characters. Each one I think is lovely. I think Tamora Pierce does a great job at developing characters, even if they're side characters. Beka also has a group of friends that she hangs out with in her lodging and stuff like that. So I think Tamora Pierce does a great job at developing her characters in regards to their scope in the story. So side characters, of course, aren't going to get as much as main characters, but enough to where you feel connected to them as Beka would. You know what I'm saying? I just want to go over some general things very quickly before I go into spoilers. Okay. So I should have done these like interlaced with the writing and the plot and stuff like that, but I do want to say the plots were interesting and intriguing. It was kind of like trying to figure it out on your own as well with Beka. So I did like that. I don't really read a whole lot of like mystery detective type stories. So this was, first of all, different for me, but also interesting for me. I've kind of already explained the different mysteries that are going on within the books. I don't think I explained the first one. The first one, there's a lot of murders going on and they're trying to figure out why they're happening. So the crimes are varied. I feel like a lot of murder, detective, mystery type books, a lot of the times focus on murder and killings and stuff like that. The first book does focus on that. The second one is, like I said, money laundering, whatever, just smuggling fake money into the system. And then the third one is a kidnapping. So the crimes, the mysteries are varied, which I appreciated and enjoyed. The pacing is done well. There are definitely some slow moments where Beka is kind of thinking things out. She's very descriptive, which can kind of draw the story out a little bit more as well. But there are also some battle scenes. Beka does fight in these books. There's some battle scenes, conflict type scenes in these books that kept the pacing well done. I would say it's maybe a little slower than if you were to read a straight out like action book. I personally thought it was well done though. So those are my general thoughts about the books. I really enjoyed them. If you like murder, mystery, detective type books and you're looking for something that's maybe a little bit more YA in a fantasy world, I don't think I said that at the beginning, but this is a fantasy world. I would recommend these. I think they're really good. Again, it kind of starts out a little middle grade, but as the series progresses, it gets a little more YA as well. I thought they were great. Again, probably one of my new favorite series. So let's go into why it's not definitively one of my new favorite series. If you don't care about spoilers, you can keep watching. If you do, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you maybe got a little bit more insight into this trilogy by Tamora Pierce, and I hope to see you soon. If you're still here and you don't care about spoilers and you want to hear all the tea, keep watching and I'll explain very quickly why this last book in particular disappointed me. I've already mentioned the three main people in this series are Beka, Goodwin, and Tunstall. This one is about Beka and Tunstall. Okay, and I've already said that Tunstall is supposed to be the comedic relief. He's kind of like the goofball, big, burly guy who Beka looks to as like a funny uncle type character. Okay, but throughout this book, things happen that set them back, and it becomes apparent that the enemy, the people who have kidnapped the prince, know what their plans are somehow, and it's obvious that someone has betrayed them. And it turns out that that person is Tunstall, because he wanted to be with Lady Sabine. So Lady Sabine is a lady knight, I've already mentioned that, which means she's of a high status. Tunstall is not of a high status, and he feels kind of chipped by that. He doesn't want to feel inferior to her, not in the fact that he's masculine and wants to be better than the woman that he's with. He doesn't want to put her in that position. He doesn't want to make her fall below her standing, so he's trying to put himself at a higher standing. So because of this, because he wants to be with this woman who is higher ranking than he is, he betrays his group and hands over information and essentially promises to hand over the prince to them, to the bad guys, in return for wealth and a higher status, so he can feel like he officially deserves to be with Lady Sabine. Okay. One, I don't think that fits his character based on the previous two books. I said he wasn't in the second one a whole lot, but he's still in there, especially towards the beginning. So I don't think that fit his character, especially considering he's supposed to be one of the greatest guards in this realm. I don't see him being disloyal like that, even if he did love Lady Sabine, because she was very honest and blunt in the fact that she didn't care what his status was. She still liked being with him anyways, and it was just something that kind of got into his own head, no matter what she said or anyone else said. So one, I don't think that fit his character at all. Two, Beka discovers what has happened. She discovers that Tunstall is the one that has betrayed them and kind of sold them out. And so she confronts him about this, and they fight. And keep in mind that Tunstall is the one who trained Beka, or at least one of the ones. He and Goodwin were the ones that trained Beka. And he's kind of like a father, uncle type figure to her. So I don't really foresee them fighting this way. I can't see Tunstall willingly trying to kill Beka. I can't. And Beka was distraught the whole time it was happening. Of course she was fighting back because she didn't want to be killed. But I can't see it. So I think Tamora Pierce added this just to have some kind of twist at the end, because of course all great series have twists, right? I just think this was the wrong one to make. I think she made it just to have a twist, and I did not appreciate it. I think the series would have been a lot better with just a happy ending. I don't think it had to have any kind of like sad, degrading, angry mix into this. The happy ending, I don't think it needed that at all. So I was highly disappointed with the ending of this. Maybe I'll change my mind next time I read through it, because I do plan on keeping these. I do tend to reread books kind of often, so I probably will reread these in the future. Maybe I'll change my mind. But for right now, I was so disappointed. Anyways, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. With that being said, if that's something you can look past, if you still want to read these, I definitely recommend it. They're really good, and they're a lot of fun to read. So if you can kind of look past that a little bit, definitely give them a try and let me know if you do. Let me know what your thoughts are. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe down below and leave a comment. You guys are awesome. I am so thankful for you, and I hope you're doing well. And we'll be back here next time, guys. See ya!